on the Newman Jets Audio Network. This is the Jetcast, the official podcast of Newman University Athletics, featuring exclusive interviews with coaches, players, administrators, and more. The Jetcast podcast is brought to you by South Central Ceiling and Paving, online at SCSEALING.com. Mel Hambledon Ford, Pepsi, Eck Agency, Donlinger Construction, Big Corner Creative, Dr. Brennan Lucas and Advanced Orthopedic Associates, Keystone Solid Surfaces, and by Overland Charters, the official transportation provider of Newman University Athletics. Here's the voice of the Newman Jets, Blake Cripps.
It's a rare back-to-back for Newman Wrestling as the Jets pulled out a victory over Labette County Community College at the Kansas Star Casino yesterday. Today, the Jets are setting out for a road trip to Nebraska for a dual makeup with the UNK Lopers. We'll get you set for all the action on today's episode of the Jetcast. This is episode number 59, a special Monday edition of the show. We are starting the program today with Newman Jets Wrestling on the road to take on the Lopers in MIAA wrestling action today. We are joined by head coach Ryan Smith in the middle if you're watching on YouTube, and on the end, associate coach Blake Fisher. Guys, it is so great to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us, Blake.
Well, let's start with you, Coach. The Jets at the Kansas Star, the Battle of the Belts, and you guys get the victory over Labette County. I know it was a 2-point win, but in the matches you actually wrestled 5-2, and you guys had some dominant wins there in the middle weights. How did you feel like the guys performed yesterday?
No, I mean, the guys performed fine. It was, they showed up and wrestled. I mean, they should. I mean, you're talking about a 4-year school versus JUCO, and I'm just thankful those guys agreed to do it. At the beginning of the year, we had the Jet duels on the schedule, and that kind of fell through. And then, my boys wrestle for Mays Wrestling Club, and I knew about this tournament. I mean, it's a premier tournament in the Midwest. I think they had over 2,000 wrestlers over 2 days of competition. So what a great event to add some college wrestling, and I'm just glad the Mays Wrestling Club was able to make it happen, and glad Labette agreed to come over and take us on. So,
Coach Smith, what was the atmosphere like with? I'm sure probably there have not been a whole lot of wrestling events in your career. You can correct me if I'm wrong, that have taken place in a casino in an arena like that. What was that like to have the guys there and wrestling in an arena like that?
Oh, it was pretty cool. I don't know if it was, it was different, obviously. I mean, not being at your home place, not really having a locker room, but just the nature of the venue. And I've told myself for the last 5 years we needed to figure out a way to do something over there, whether it be an open tournament, a duel of that nature, or, but it's awesome. I mean, it's pretty incredible when you get to see 6-7-year-old kids wrestle alongside grown men. So what a great opportunity for wrestling from a whole standpoint. So,
Coach Fisher, have you been in an atmosphere like that before?
First time for me. I talked to the guys all week about how to prepare for something like that and how to stay focused when you're in an environment that you're not used to.
Is it similar to like when you had the guys up at Nationals, just because obviously the pressure of being in that situation when you're at Nationals is totally different, understandable, but it is similar in the fact that there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of distractions, a lot of wrestling taking place. Obviously, there would be in different weight classes. In this situation, to be all these younger kids wrestling. So, are there similarities for going to a big duel, or maybe when you guys hosted the MIAA championships here a few years ago?
Yeah, I think there's a couple similarities, but as far as the younger guys that haven't really been to the national tournament, it was a good experience for them, something they can reflect on when they do make it to the tournament. So it won't be their first experience at the national tournament. They have something to fall back on.
Coach Smith, how do you feel like this is maybe a kind of a recruiting tool for you guys to get your name out, get your program out in front of these kids? You mentioned this Battle of the Belts. I'm not as much in the wrestling universe as you two are, but if this is a really big event, how great is it to get your name out in front of some of these kids that you might be trying to get into some Newman singlets in the next 10 years?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing we do when we have the kids duels prior to our events at home. I mean, it's all marketing. It's all getting that Newman brand in front of these guys at a young age, and there's nothing more special than a 10-year-old kid saying, "Hey, I'm going to wear a Newman singlet when I'm 18 years old." So it's fun. I mean, that's part of it.
And Coach Fisher, how important is it to start building relationships when you're trying to recruit these kids and getting to know these kids early when you have them in your own building?
I mean, just getting out in front of them, in front of the kids' clubs, in front of the high schools, seeing your name. As they grow up, they see you more and more. They want to be a part of it. So,
Coach Smith, you've had Coach Fisher as your associate head coach. I don't know how long he's been the associate coach, but he's now been with you. He's in his 11th year with you, a decade with this guy. What's it been like to have Coach Fisher on your staff for over a decade now?
He's my right-hand man. I lean on him quite a bit. We both have our roles, and we usually stay in our lanes, and or we get on each other a little bit. But it's been awesome. I mean, Newman's blessed to have him,
and we're blessed to have him on the show as well. Coach Fisher, what's it like? I always ask the kids this when they come on. What's it like to work for Coach Smith? He just couldn't help himself, couldn't you, Coach Smith?
No, it's been an experience. He's kind of guided me when I was younger and kind of let me take more and more leadership roles as I got older. And 11th year in, like you said, now it's kind of just we know what to do. We know how to get things done.
How do you define your role? What do you feel like your role is on this program?
Well, year to year it gets a little bit different. Just as we develop and grow the program, we have to take on a little bit more. But mostly, I'm in the room, running practice, helping with the guys on technique and stuff like that. But, this year and moving on to next year will be more of a recruiting scene with Coach Meese involved now. We can really start spreading our wings and getting in front of more kids.
Well, and I also wanted to ask you, for both of you guys, this is kind of a family deal, and you've got family on the team now. What's it been like to have another Fisher wearing a Newman uniform?
It's good. I mean, I have to step back sometimes and say, well, he is my family, he's my cousin. There's a little bit different relationship there than I have with other kids, but he's a great kid. He's easy to coach. He listens. He's well-mannered. He's awesome kid. So.
I wanted to ask you, Coach, a couple of weeks ago you guys celebrated Senior Day, and just a huge, long list of seniors, of guys that you're getting ready to say goodbye to, who have been a member of the Navy and Red for all these years and been a part of your program. What was it like to see those guys wrestle their last matches at home as Newman Jets, and thinking about the future where you won't have those guys around next year?
It's always tough, Hopefully we retain a few of those guys for another year to soften that burden.
So you've got a couple of guys that have the option.
Yeah, to come back. Absolutely, and and Cam will stick around, do his GA year, and so we're not losing them all. We're going to lose a couple of them, but it is what it is. We go through this every year, but man, that list of seniors, you go back and look over the years, just the 10 years Fisher's been with me, and it gets a little harder each year, as you, like he was saying, as you develop the program, as you get a little better every year, and sometimes it feels like we're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but it's special. I mean, not to take anything away from the guys 10, 15 years ago, but every one of those guys are special.
And Coach, I wanted to ask you, Coach Fisher, as well, because I remember when we had Cameron Frame on the show, he was actually kind of excited to join the coaching staff and maybe start to get his feet wet, like you did in this business on this side, looking at the mat from the outside rather than being on it. How do you feel like you need to mentor? How are you mentoring Coach Meese as he tries to get started in this profession and maybe try to become a wrestling coach later on in his life?
You want to take that?
No, that's for you, Coach.
That's for me?
It is.
Well, with Coach Meese, we'll start with him. This is his first year actually being part of the program. I mean, he was with us, a year or two ago and just kind of helping out, but giving him more of a role in the program and watching him develop and learning how to talk to the guys and knowing where we're at in the season and what to do at the right times is just the first step in learning. So he's doing a great job picking things up. And as far as Cameron Frame, I mean, I'm just trying to keep him focused for his last year.
Of course.
And, he is very, very, very excited for next year to help out. But this year we just got to keep him focused. And
you mentioned the fact, Coach Smith, that some of these guys you can have back. How, I guess, challenging has it been just to try to figure out eligibility and who's going to come back, who's not, all these things that 4 years ago you knew exactly, okay, I've got this guy for one more year and that's it, this is what I need, these are the weight classes that I need to recruit for. How much more of a challenge is it now with the give back year and guys being able to make that decision and as we move forward, hopefully we'll get back to normal one of these days and this won't be an issue anymore. But I know for right now, how has that kind of changed up how you recruit and how you have to put the team together?
Well, I know you've never recruited at Newman, but it's always challenging.
I have never. I have never recruited at Newman. That is correct.
But I mean, yeah, it's not as clear cut as it was before. I mean, it's pretty clear when you get a COVID give back year, right? But I mean, it's the same goes throughout every year as far as, all right, we got this guy 4, he's looking at year 5. It's just got to make sense for the kid too. Is the kid willing to grind out another year? It's not right for everybody. They got to be bought in. We don't want them to come in here and get halfway through and this really isn't for me. So it's a lot of conversations with these guys.
So, Coach, we obviously turn our attention here. Coach Fisher, we'll start with you. Nebraska Kearney coming up, road trip today. Loper's one of the premier programs in the MIAA, really one of the premier programs in the country. When you look at these Lopers, when you prepare a team for a match, obviously it's so individualized because you have guys who are wrestling different guys, and the matchup for one player or one wrestler at one weight class might be totally different than the weight class 2 above or 2 below it. So when you're scouting a team and putting it together, so I guess it's not a UNK question, just kind of a general prep question, how do you go about scouting the opposing team and getting each wrestler prepared for their individual matches?
Well, going back my last 10 years without Coach Meese in the room every day, it was a little bit tougher, talking to, my 10 starters this duel we're going to have a little bit less. We have a few opens, but just some injuries going on. And it's just it was a little bit tougher in the past dealing with each kid individually and watching the kid they're going to have and preparing each one of them for what they're going to see in the match. As to now, you got Coach Meese in the room and, he could take half the load. So it's quite a bit easier with another coach in the room, and it helps tremendously against a team like Kearney. Looking at the road trip up today, is there any birthday surprise planned for Coach Smith on the road trip today?
God, I hope not.
Just a big win versus Kearney, hopefully.
Hey, that would be fine. So that would be a great birthday gift for Coach. I'll let you decide whether or not you want to disclose the age here on the show or not. But final question, how special would that be to go up there and maybe not even necessarily looking for a win against Nebraska Kearney, but how important is it for these guys as getting pretty close here to the postseason for some of these guys. Sure. So even if they're not getting the win, but how important is it for these guys to go up, wrestle solid, and wrestle these Lopers tough?
No, we've got some guys that are wrestling well right now, and there's no doubt in our mind that we're not going to go up there and steal a couple matches from them. So that's the goal for the next 2 duels. We got UNK tonight, and we got UCO on Super Bowl Sunday. I don't know who did that scheduling, but they're probably in trouble. But no, it's fun. We've got the last 2 duels. We're getting ready for postseason after that, and we just got to keep building on each one of these matches.
It's a 6 p.m. start for the duels tonight up at Nebraska Kearney. Coach Smith and Coach Fisher, his debut on the Jetcast. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Blade.
Thanks for having us.
We are talking women's basketball. We'll have Torri Vang on next, a forward from the women's basketball team, when we return on the Jetcast.
Where can you land the best Jet swag? The official online store of Newman University Athletics, NUJetsgear.com. Store features the greatest variety of Jets logo gear anywhere. The latest clothing styles and hats to Newman branded lawn chairs and office supplies and more. NUJetsgear.com is your place to purchase sports specific, alumni, parents, and hard to find Newman merchandise. Shop right now on your computer or phone. NUJetsgear.com or click the Shop Now button at NewmanJets.com.
Life. It throws you curves and it knocks you down. But what separates the good from the great is the getting back up. Newman University will always get back up. We are a university of doers, of innovators, of transformers. We inspire as we soar to new heights. We will not be beaten. We will not settle for anything less than the best. We are Newman University.
Back on the Jetcast, it is the bye week for Newman women's basketball as they will play their travel partner Central Oklahoma coming up. As the Jets look to knock off the Broncos, we are joined here by a forward from Goddard, Kansas. Another one of these Kansas kids coming into this Newman program, Torri Vang, a forward from Goddard, averaging 2 points per game, but coming off of a career-high 8 points and a career-high 31 minutes. She has made 5 straight starts now for the Jets. She had a really big game as the Jets had a big-time upset bid against the number 22 Nebraska Kearney Lopers. Torri Vang, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, number 22 Lopers, number 22 team in the country. You guys really did a fantastic job overcoming some early adversity, and you guys had a fairly good offensive game, which had been a struggle in some previous nights. What allowed you guys to keep pace with the Lopers in the second half?
I mean, it started off and we were all like, we're not doing this again. We're not going through another game like what we just had. And I think just coming together and realizing we're not doing that again.
Sure.
And let's just play together and let's just play all.
Well, and obviously she's referring to a difficult night at the office, let's say, against Fort Hays State. Lopers come out, they get on a 13-3 run, and they lead, I think, 20-7 after the first quarter. It's one thing to say, okay, we're not going to let this happen again. It's another thing to go out and, really take it to the Lopers and beat them 19-6 in the second quarter to tie it up going into the second half. How do you guys take that feeling of we can't let this happen again and then turn it into execution? I thought that second quarter offensively and defensively, that may have been one of your best 10-minute stretches of basketball you guys have played all year.
Yeah. I think just focusing more on defense and not letting them score and giving us extra opportunities was very helpful.
How do you guys take positives after a loss? Obviously, it's been rough in the MIAA this year, but there have been moments where you guys have played really, really well and been in these games. You think back to Missouri Southern where you guys were down something like 21 going into 3 minutes left, and you really poured on the Lopers there at the end of the second quarter, get back into that game. It was a 2-possession game down in Edmond against Central Oklahoma. And there have been other games. At Emporia State, the game that you played against them here was very, very close. How do you guys try to take positives from those losses and continue to have that optimistic and positive outlook that you guys are going to put it together and get one of these wins?
I just think we're all competitors, and when you go out there every single day, I mean, you wanna compete, you wanna win. So I mean, regardless of what our outcomes have been, we still want to have that competitive edge. And
when you are a player, obviously, you want to play. You started out the year not so much in the rotation, was used kind of sparingly, but now all of a sudden 5 straight starts for you and a career high 8 points against Nebraska Kearney. So obviously for you, patience has paid off. How difficult is it in the moment to stay patient on the bench because you don't know when your name is going to be called? But obviously now that you are in the starting lineup and in the regular rotation, you've made the most of your minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun regardless. I mean, with who you're on the bench with or with whoever you're playing with, I mean, they're just a really great group of girls that I love being around. So regardless, I'm just ready.
Coach Nicole, talk to us about what it's like to be coached by one of these all-time legends in women's basketball in the state of Kansas, obviously Kansas State. Talk to us about Coach Nicole and what she has meant to you in your development as a player.
We haven't had her for a couple of weeks since the baby, and so we've been missing her a lot, but she's been coming to the games, and she's just so positive all the time, regardless of what's going on, and she's just so fun to be around. I love having her.
Obviously, Vang is a name around these parts that is widely known for athletic excellence in Goddard. And there are so many Vangs, so let's start with that. Which of the Vangs, I know that there are a few lines of the family, a few branches of the family tree. Which Vangs are you related to?
I'm related to Tate and Tucker.
Okay.
If that
Yeah,
helps.
that helps.
Narrows it down.
That does narrow it down a little bit. So obviously, you guys are such an athletic family. You guys have, brothers that have been playing, ended up at KU playing some football. So there have been so many, young men and young women that have, had these athletic exploits. What's it been like for you to grow up in such an athletic family? We had a head coach at Goddard that really built the program that had that last name as well. So what's that been like to be in a family that's had so much athletic success?
Very competitive.
Yeah.
Everything, even home games, just card games, whatever it was, someone had to win.
How were there any difficult moments there? Like one-on-one on the driveway for a basketball hoop?
Yeah, with my brothers, and then I'd get kicked out because I wasn't going hard enough. I wasn't up on their level.
Sure.
I mean, there were a lot of fights though. A lot of fights.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Did you at least give as good as you got in those fights?
I tried my best.
Okay. Yeah, that's all you can ask for, right? So sports in the family, obviously really, really important. How nice is it for you to be able to be so close to them here in Wichita? So they, obviously just about 5-10 minutes. Don't know where they live in Goddard, what corner of Goddard they're in, but obviously to come and watch you play, obviously very, very convenient for them. How great is it to have family support and hopefully some Lion fans coming out to watch you play here as a Jet as well?
It's been really nice just having them at every single game and having the support. It feels really good.
Looking at how you've come to be at Newman, obviously you started through the JUCO route, went south to Cali County Community College. What do you feel like made the JUCO route for you, right for you, and what was life like as a Tiger before you became a Jet?
JUCO just sounded like the right path. I wasn't sure where I was gonna go. I didn't know what I wanted to major in. I was like, I gotta find it somehow.
Sure.
And so started out there, and it's a grind. JUCO is a grind, and so it was a rough 2 years, and then COVID hit, and then it was kind of just, where am I going now? And then Drew gave me the opportunity to come here, and I was all for it.
So as you've taken these steps forward in your own personal development, have you figured out what you think you want to do long term?
Yeah, I am majoring in marketing right now. So
okay, so
very excited.
As I tell a lot of our graduates who are up here, I do hear there is some money to be made in that. What drew you to that profession, and what do you feel like is going to be the thing that you're going to enjoy about marketing once you're able to get started as a professional here, in a couple of years?
I had taken a class, and it just kind of sparked something in me, and I was like, well, that was fun.
Sure.
I'd do it again. And then at Cali, I would talk to our marketing lady, and she just helped me kind of figure out like what was enjoyable with it and what I'd want to do with it. And so they didn't have marketing at Cali at the time. It was just like a side class. And so I was like, I got to go somewhere for this. And so she helped me figure that out, and it's been a journey, but
sure.
I'm really excited for what is going to come from it.
And that is okay. Final question for you. Central Oklahoma coming up. I didn't look back to see how much you played in the first matchup there, but I know that you were there on the bench and you saw, kind of the force that is Kelsey Johnson. And, as one of the players in the front court, it's going to be you, Brittany Ho, and Laura Bello going to be in charge of trying to slow her down, which is, we've been watching her for 2.5 years now. It's much easier said than done. What do you think is the game plan? And you guys in that one just kind of ran out of steam, could never quite get over the hump in that game as they got out again to a lead. And I don't think you guys ever took the lead in that game, but you guys just never went away. And with about 4 or 5 minutes left of that last media timeout, you guys were within 4 to 6 points. So you guys were right there at the end again. What's it going to take to give yourself a shot with 5 minutes to go, down by 1 or 2 scores, and have a chance to pull this thing out?
One, Brittany's not going to foul this time. She's not going to.
That would help.
Yeah, she's not going to get 2 quick ones.
Yeah.
So she'll be in. And just being physical. Just you have to, especially with Kelsey Johnson. Just all of us.
I guess that was all the questions that I had prepared, but I guess I'll follow that up with one last question. The Jayhawk Conference, so many great players have come out of the Jayhawk Conference. It's a very, very respected junior college league, but what's the step up been like from playing Jayhawk basketball to now being in the MIAA?
Probably the physicality. I mean, it was physical in JUCO, but it's just different.
The girls are different, and the girls, how much stronger are they here in the MLAA?
Oh, way stronger, and way taller.
Yeah, they do seem to run a little bit taller. Once again, the Newman women, they're going to be playing on Saturday, so it's all of a week off. How nice is it to have a midweek off for a change?
I mean, it's nice, but I don't know if I'm ready to practice for a full week.
Yeah. Well, and Coach Drew was saying, you guys played so well the last time out. I know you didn't get the win, but, you might want to get back to it on Wednesday or Thursday and try to keep that momentum.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited just because it's a full week to redevelop, re-strategize, and get back into it and hopefully get us a win. 1:30 doubleheader against Central Oklahoma. We'll have the coverage for you on the Newman Jets audio network, newmanjets.com/listen. And, of course, you can watch the game, the miaanetwork.com/Newman. Torri, Vang, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you.
We'll wrap up with Coach Nicole on the Jetcast next. Wrapping up the Jetcast, once again, the women are in action coming up on Saturday. Men are actually playing on Wednesday, so you can follow that game. We've got the links up for you, newmanjets.com. But the women actually do get a bye week this week, and they are taking on Central Oklahoma. It's a doubleheader, another youth sports Saturday here at the gate, so you can bring the kid to Fugate Gymnasium. They're going to get in free wearing their favorite uniform, and then the entire family, they get $5 tickets. So check that out. It's brought to you by Advanced Orthopedic Associates, and we are here with Coach Nicole Ohlde-Johnson, Kansas State WNBA legend, and now one of the leaders of this Newman women's basketball program as the Jets take on the Broncos for a 1:30 doubleheader on Saturday. Coach Nicole, first solo appearance on the Jetcast. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be here.
A new son, Johnson the son number 2, Johnson number 4 in the family. So you guys now can feel like an Olympic 3-on-3 team and have a sub. And you mentioned feeling pretty good, got some sleep last night. So how has that adjustment been?
It's been different. It definitely has been. Our first son, he was a sleeper. So I feel like, unless I just forgot everything, I feel like he slept 4 hours right away. And this one, he's giving us a run for our money.
Sure.
So, we're getting there.
Well, and yeah, Coach Drew a couple of times in the pregame, he's been fighting it off. And like Zach said, maybe it's just my questions that are boring him to sleep. But how is Dax taking all this in?
Dax has been great. He's been an awesome big brother. Super helpful. If we ask him to go get something, he's ready to go get it. He wants to give him lots of snuggles. We have to tell him to be gentle all the time.
Sure.
Dax is not a gentle person, so he's learning how to do that. But he's been great. He's taken everything in stride, and he's just been a super awesome big brother.
Now, during this second semester, you have not been making as many of the road trips.
Yep.
How difficult is that to have to watch or hopefully listen to the game and not be there on the bench and in the action and there to help your post players?
Yeah, it's hard for sure. Obviously, we knew that would be an adjustment. I think if we would have planned it correctly, we wouldn't have picked having a kid right in the middle of basketball season.
Yeah.
But, things happen the way they happen, and we're very grateful we have Cooper. It's been an adjustment. Obviously, I watch at home, and then I'm always texting. I text Josh, and so that way he has his phone, and he can look at it. I don't know if they actually read the text all the time, but I text him, and, Dax will be watching the game. He'll be saying stuff, and so we're just at home just watching, cheering him on, and if we see something that can help him, we'll let him them know, but we know it's in good hands with Drew and Josh as well.
So you guys just got done coaching against the other married couple. How was that to coach against the Amys? And you guys had a great conversation with those two down there after the game.
Yeah,
on
for sure.
Saturday.
We know Carrie and Devin really well, and obviously they're really good people and really good coaches. And so they've been in this game a long time too, and been in this league for a while as well. And so it's nice to be able to just talk back and forth with them, and they have advice for us and stuff like that. And so they're good people, and it's fun to be able to coach against them. Obviously, would have loved to get the win, but
of course,
we'll just continue to battle, and hopefully someday we get there.
Absolutely. So you guys come in. You were his associate head coach up at Bethel. You guys got to come in together to run the program. On game day, he's kind of the de facto head coach. He's the one that gets to talk to the officials, that stands up. What do you feel like is your role in this program that you guys are building together here at Newman?
Yeah, sometimes I probably stand up a little too much along with Drew. So I haven't been told to sit down too many times yet.
I don't think you have.
Which is good. I just think my role is, obviously, we each kind of have our own things that we do, and we also have a lot of stuff that we do together. And obviously, development of post players is one of the big things. Haven't been able to be at practice as much, so Drew has taken on some of that. But post player development, calling out different plays maybe that would help Drew. He usually calls out the sets, but if I see something, maybe a different mismatch that he doesn't see, being able to call that out. A lot of the subbing patterns, Josh and I kind of handle that together. And so a lot of that stuff as far as the in-game stuff and then the practice stuff, but and then along with that, just recruiting, just the day-to-day, just things you have to do behind the scenes as well, which I've been able to do a lot at home, which has been nice.
You guys started the Ohlde Elite program kind of together, obviously used your names. You were kind of the face and the name of the franchise there to use that kind of phrasing. How did you guys decide that, on game day that you wanted him to kind of be even if you guys are kind of running this thing together here at Newman, but he's the de facto head coach. How did you guys come together and decide that was the way that you guys wanted to operate? Yeah,
well, I think that's something that he has always really wanted is that head coaching role. And I am totally fine taking a step back and letting him do that. That's not something necessarily that is on my bucket list that I have to do. And so it just kind of works out that he wants to do that. His voice is louder than mine. And so everybody is able to hear him from players, and he's just able to kind of take on that role. And I am perfectly fine kind of being the one that sits down. And the nice thing is that he is very willing to listen to whatever we have to say as well. And so I think that's why it works out really, really well, is that we each have these roles, but we're willing to be open to each other's suggestions.
Well, and it amazes me. There's so much time that'll go on during a game, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but there's so much time. I don't know if I've ever seen a coach that will actually just not watch the game and just talk to his assistants more than Coach Drew. So how important is that level of communication?
Oh, it's huge. I think it's ginormous, just because he may see something, or Josh and I may see something. And so if you're not able to communicate back and forth, you don't get that, you just don't get to see the big picture and what everybody else may see. And so I think that's what, makes us work really well together, is that we're able to be open to each other's ideas and suggestions. And, obviously he can take them if he wants them, and he cannot take them if he wants them, but he's at least willing to listen to us and be able to brainstorm some different stuff.
Well, you are obviously a Kansas State, women's basketball legend, name in the rafters up there at Bramlage Coliseum. Have you been able to see any part of the 61-point performance
I watched
from Ayoka Lee? And were you able to reach out and I guess that had to be just an amazing experience to watch a Kansas State player trying to follow in your footsteps, set the all-time scoring record at the Division I women's basketball level. She's kind of the Wilt Chamberlain of college women's basketball with 61 points. What was that like to watch her do that in that game?
Crazy and amazing all in one. I can't fathom scoring 61 points in a game.
What's your career high?
I think mine was like 34 or something.
That's a lot.
It's still a lot, but not 61. So she's just amazing. And the thing is, I've met her a few times, and obviously I know some people on that coaching staff and some players there really well. The biggest thing is that she seems like a really, really good person too. And so great people there at K-State, and she's doing amazing things, and she's so talented. Like she does some things that I'm like, I would have never known how to do. So she's really, really good.
Well, and obviously you guys are big Kansas State supporters, big Kansas State Wildcat fans. Kansas State women's basketball from your era had taken a little bit of a dip. But it certainly seems like that program's moving in the right direction. Just as a fan, how exciting is that for you to see?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I think they are doing a really good job. Coach Mitty's doing great with everybody that he has put into that program and the positions that they're in. Obviously, they have a great post player and they have some really good guards and some really young guards as well. And so I think the trajectory of that program is upward, and I think it's good and it's fun to watch.
And we're obviously hoping that the Newman Jet program is soaring upward as well. And one of the players hopefully going to help you do that is Torri Vang, who we just talked to on the show, who did not have a big role in terms of on the court minutes to start the year, but personnel changes, opportunity comes, and she's ready to answer the door, and she steps through, and obviously 5 straight starts now, 8 points, a career high against Nebraska Kearney, and now all of a sudden playing really big and important minutes for you. How great is it to see her being able to respond to a situation where after not starting, she kept herself ready, and now that opportunity has called, she's really answered the bell for you guys.
Yeah, I think that's the amazing thing about sports is that you never know when your time is going to come, and so she's put herself in a position to continue to stay ready. And so, like you said, she wasn't playing a ton early on, but she kept practicing, kept working out, got in the gym. We've seen her in the gym a couple times just by herself, getting some shots up, and obviously that pays off. And we know Torri can knock down shots, and her shot looks so pure. I tell her that all the time. It's one of the best looking shots I've seen. And so just the confidence that she needs to step up and knock some shots down, and I think she did that against Kearney. And so I think moving forward, she'll continue to gain more and more confidence. But just a credit to her, she's stayed ready. She's been competitive in practice, and her time has come, and she's really stepped up and filled that role.
Now, I did not clear this question with anybody, but I'm going to ask it anyway. This is our last episode before Valentine's Day, so it is a perfect time to ask. How does a Kansas State basketball legend and an all-conference punter from Friends, how do they get together? How did that happen?
Oh boy, that's a long story, but the short of it is he got a teaching job in Clay Center, and I moved back to Clay Center, and that's how it happened.
Okay,
so,
well there you go.
Knew?
Yeah, who did know? What's it like, to work with Coach Drew and to not only just have your family here, but be able to coach together. And I told him as well, there are probably some married couples that relish that separation during the working day, but not really an option for you guys. You guys office right next to each other, but gosh, how long have you guys been coaching together now? Ohlde Elite?
Oh, 8 years.
I mean,
or so,
4 years at Bethel, 1 season here, and then so that's 5 or 4.5.
4 or 5 years with Ohlde Elite as well.
So yeah, we're looking at about a decade.
Yeah, yep.
But it's for whatever reason, I guess you guys have to have a love of each other, but you guys also have to have a love of basketball too.
Yeah, we do, and I will say, thankfully, those offices have doors, so we can always close them if we need to. But it's honestly, it just works out. And I remember kind of the first couple times I met Drew and we talked basketball. I mean, our philosophies really match up well with each other. And he coached and played under a guy, Brett Flory, who is a great basketball mind. And I played for Coach Patterson at K-State. And both of those philosophies that they had really match up with each other. And so therefore, Drew's philosophy and my philosophy in basketball just kind of meshed. And so we believe a lot of the same things and like to coach in a way of the same as far as like just getting after it and being really, really competitive. And so it just really works. And then obviously, you have to have a love for each other and have to have an understanding that not everything's going to go well all the time, but being able to communicate through things and talk through things obviously makes it so you can coach together and can work together.
Final question for you. Central Oklahoma, this is a game that you guys battled. This is one that you're probably screaming on the monitor because you guys played really, really well for the majority of this game. You allowed a couple of runs, but you battled back. I think it was close to like 4 points there at the end, 6 at the last media timeout. The last 5 minutes, obviously, they kind of imposed their will. They were able to get away from you guys. And Kelsey Johnson was, really special in that game. So, and it's your players. I asked her, your players going to be in charge of trying to keep her in check. Not an easy assignment at all. How do you see this game against Central Oklahoma?
Yeah, well, obviously we're excited to get another game under our belt. Obviously we have the whole week to kind of practice and prepare. I don't know how much players love that, but as coaches we like to be able to prepare for it. We will give them some time off so they rest their bodies and stuff. But Central Oklahoma is really, really talented. They have a lot of pieces. They have great inside game. Their guards are really, really good. They're athletic. They're very, very talented. And so it's just going to be kind of a total team effort. Obviously nobody's going to stop Johnson just by herself. And so it's going to be, working through our post players and obviously some help from our guards. So total team effort, and just, we'll see what happens if we can come out and compete and play hard. Hopefully the chips fall where they fall, and we'll like where we're at.
1:30 doubleheader coverage coming up on Saturday. The men and the women taking on Central Oklahoma. You can listen to the game on the Newman Jets audio network, newmanjets.com/listen, of course, on your mobile device. Download it for free today, the Newman Athletics app, Google Play or the App Store, or watch the game on the miaanetwork.com/Newman. Coach Nicole of women's basketball, her first solo appearance on the Jetcast. Thank you so much for being here, Coach.
Well, thanks for having me.
We will be back with another Jetcast next week. We'll be back at our normal time, dropping these on Wednesdays at either 1 p.m. if we've got live Newman Jets Audio Network coverage in the night, or at 6 p.m. But we appreciate you tuning in for this special Monday edition of the Jetcast. So until next week, Blake Kripp saying, Go Jets.